My wife is an actress, and she has this rule: no man touches her but me, not even in photos. Whenever she takes pictures with male celebrities, she always keeps at least a fist distance between them. Until my birthday this year, her new co-star made a post online. Elizabeth, my Elizabeth, let Matthew wrap his arms around her waist from behind. The caption read, "After 8 years of being a fan, I finally get to be her co-star. Go Matthew. Keep chasing the light in your heart." I left a comment, just a single question mark. But in my heart, it wasn't a question mark at all. It was, is she your wife or something? What gives you the right to hold her like that? Elizabeth called me not long after. Her voice was calm, even sweet. "Joel," she said, "he's just a little boy who got too excited about finally achieving his dream. You're really overthinking this. Be good. Hubby." Delete the comment. The internet turned on me instantly. They said I was overreacting. Then Matthew doubled down. He posted again, "There will always be misunderstandings on the road to chasing dreams. But the light I followed taught me not to be discouraged." The entire internet applauded him. I watched it all, and I made a phone call. The next day, Matthew was replaced as the male lead. You have any idea how important this role was to Matthew? Elizabeth's voice was sharp. This was the first time she'd ever raised it at me. He spent 2 whole years preparing just to get this audition. And now, just because of a baseless accusation from you, all his hard work went up in smoke. For the first time, Elizabeth was arguing with me, and it was over some rookie actor. I let out a cold chuckle. The resources are in my hands. I can remove whoever I want. If I have that kind of power, why wouldn't I use it? The commercial potential of this drama was enormous. The director had invited Elizabeth, an award-winning actress, to play the lead, and I came in as the investor. At the very least, in this project, I had the final say over who stayed and who didn't. So tell me, why should I give up my advantage and compete on equal terms with a boy who had just entered the industry? A boy who had the nerve to post a photo of himself hugging my wife. The internet didn't know the truth, but Matthew knew. That boy I'd sponsored, mentored, and helped grow up, he knew damn well who Elizabeth really was. I turned to her, holding her face in my hands. "Elizabeth, remember this. I'm your husband. Even if this marriage started as business, it doesn't give you the right to disrespect me." Because the truth was, this wasn't just business anymore. There was something between us. Elizabeth pushed me away. "I told you, there's really nothing between us. We're just playing a couple in the show. Can't I even act with him? Can you stop assuming the worst of people?" "Nothing at all?" I pulled out my phone and showed her the comments from netizens under Matthew's post. OMG, that scene wasn't even in the script. Both of Matthew's hands are on Elizabeth's waist. If this isn't real, then what is? This is killing me. It's too sweet. Everyone knows our queen never stands as close to male actors in photos. There were even rumors she was secretly married. Thank God we didn't believe them. Elizabeth frowned. Fans don't know the truth. You can't take their comments seriously. But you do, don't you? You, I said slowly. Elizabeth, the queen of the industry. You knew exactly how people would interpret it. You knew I'm the kind of man who's territorial. But you still let it happen. Elizabeth froze. I sneered. See? You knew. You knew all of it. And you still let it happen. She exhaled, frustrated. Joe, it's just a small thing. Are you really throwing a tantrum over this? Crash. The vase hit the floor and shattered into pieces. Elizabeth's eyes widened. I looked straight at her. Who are you to decide what's small to me? We'd been married for 5 years. Always polite, always respectful. In the beginning, we were just business partners. But after years of shared moments, shared passion, feelings had grown. She had only ever been physically intimate with me. And this was the first time we'd ever fought. The first time I'd ever raised my hand to her. It was all over a boy I once funded. You need to calm down. Elizabeth grabbed her bag and walked out the door. In the living room, my birthday cake remained unopened. The very next day, a new trending topic exploded online. Elizabeth had walked off the set. Netizens were going wild. I'm dying. That rich backstage guy who tried to get Matthew kicked out. Turns out all he's got is a pile of stinking money. Thought he could strong-arm his way through the industry. But our dear actress queen just threw down her script and quit. Ha! What a spectacular self-embarrassment. Ha ha ha. Seeing how anxious she was, does that mean our actress queen and Matthew are actually a thing? Do you even need to ask? Elizabeth never lets any man touch her. And Matthew, he nearly picked her up in his arms. Too sweet, I'm going to cry. The entire internet was blaming me because our marriage was arranged for business. Both families had agreed never to make it public. Still, the collaboration between our families was deep, intertwined in countless ways. That made some netizens mistake me for just an obsessed fan of Elizabeth's, and they dragged me onto the trending topics, cursing me relentlessly. But then all of that disappeared. Quietly, every post, every insult, every accusation taken down. By Elizabeth, I know her well enough. That was her way of warning me. The director called me, sobbing like his life was over, begging me to tell him where Elizabeth was. But the truth? I had no idea. The moment she announced she was quitting, she vanished. Wouldn't answer my calls either. Just then, my phone buzzed. Matthew had posted a new update. In the photo, he's sitting in a helicopter, sunglasses on, parachute strapped to his back. And in his hand, he's holding someone else's. That someone was Elizabeth. Elizabeth, who never once liked extreme sports. She had a faint smile on her lips. She wasn't looking at the camera. She was looking at Matthew. The caption read, "They say hearts grow closer in moments of danger. So in this moment, will the light I follow waver for me too?" I immediately messaged the director. Matthew just posted, "Look at the photo. You should be able to figure out where he is." Huh? President Coup. I don't see anything. What? I froze. The director sent me a screenshot. Matthew's last update was 3 days ago. I quickly checked with a few mutual friends. Same thing, none of them could see it, which meant the post was set to visible only to me. There's no way Elizabeth didn't understand the implication of that photo, but she still smiled, still let him take it. This was the two of them, taunting me. 2 years ago, I could have cut Matthew's financial lifeline, but now he was standing on his own. I'd already shifted from funding him directly to giving him resources, but resources no longer mattered. My assistant asked me cautiously, "President Coup, are you all right?" "Of course." I let out a cold laugh. Losing money is normal in business. Being betrayed, also normal. If I couldn't handle that, I wouldn't be where I am today. The director was still crying in my ear, and I frowned. Enough. We're just getting started. This afternoon, I'll personally bring a new actor to your set. Elizabeth finally came back after a week of having her fun. But what she returned to wasn't a panicked crew or a desperate me. No, she walked in to find a fully functioning set, production already back on track, and me being attentively cared for by another woman. The director came over, smiling brightly. "Thanks to President Coup for finding such a perfect actress in time. Otherwise, this whole project would have collapsed in my hands." When the new female lead, Freya, lit a cigarette for me, Elizabeth stormed over and snatched it away. "Joe." I looked up at her. Matthew was right behind her, and the moment he saw a new woman at my side, I caught it, a flicker of delight on his face. "What's wrong?" I asked casually, signaling Freya to pour me another drink. A vein pulsed on Elizabeth's temple. "What's wrong? Don't you think you owe me an explanation?" "Explain what?" I tilted my head, genuinely puzzled. "You two walked off the set. Of course I had to find replacements. And you had to personally be here for that? Like you've got the time?" Elizabeth snapped. Freya immediately stepped back, nervous. I pulled her gently behind me, protective. Don't scare her. She's new to the industry. She still needs someone to guide her. "Heh!" Elizabeth gave a disbelieving laugh. "You have to teach her? Joel, how do you think this looks to people?" I was starting to lose patience. I supported her growing up. What's wrong with me guiding her now? Supported her? Elizabeth froze for a moment, caught off guard. But then, Seeing Freya timidly hiding behind me only made her angrier. So now financial support comes with this level of pampering? You seriously can't see what she's after? President Koo, I didn't... Freya stammered, trying to explain. I smiled at her, gave a nod, then turned back to Elizabeth with a frown. I supported her, and she treats me well. Isn't that normal? Or should she be like that man behind you? Took my support, got promoted by me into a major production, and now has the nerve to post photos while holding my woman? Both Elizabeth and Matthew froze. Elizabeth shot Matthew a complicated look. You supported him? Freya spoke up softly. President Koo has supported many people, not just me and him. Shut up. Elizabeth snapped, glaring fiercely at her. I immediately pulled Freya behind me again. I said, don't bully my people. Elizabeth had never been the type to start drama in public. Even though she was at her breaking point, she kept her temper in check and walked away with Matthew without another word. That night, when I returned home, the first thing I saw was Elizabeth, her eyes slightly red. I frowned. What's wrong with your eyes? Joe. Her voice was hoarse. I was wrong. Let's make up. I hadn't expected Elizabeth to change this much. Why are you saying all this all of a sudden? When I saw you with Freya today, I just felt awful inside. But there's nothing going on between us. I know, and I believe you. She took out her phone and handed it to me, but even that was enough to drive me mad. I think this must be how you felt when it was me and Matthew. I'm sorry. I was too much before. She unlocked her phone. It was her chat history with Matthew. Matthew was still bombarding her with messages. Sis Eliza, why are you suddenly cutting me off? Didn't we have such a great time together outside? Ping. Another message. Please answer me. Sis Eliza, did President Koo say something to you? I really just see you as my idol. I swear. Then another. Sis Eliza, you have to believe me. I've been your fan for 8 years. You're like a beam of light to me. I'd never try to ruin your marriage. Please talk to me. The messages kept popping up nonstop. Elizabeth took the phone back from me and blocked him right there. Finally, silence. I'm sorry, she whispered. Cautiously, she leaned toward me, and when she saw I didn't push her away, she gently hugged me. I just wanted to piss you off. But when I found myself in the same situation, watching you get close to another woman, I finally realized how much I must have hurt you, Joe. She lifted her face and gave me a soft kiss on the lips. Let's not fight anymore, okay? Okay. This marriage had always been tied to our mutual interests. I wasn't going to end it lightly. Besides, I did have real feeling for Elizabeth. This whole incident, it was just her being confused. Ultimately, it wasn't such a big deal. I'd only meant to teach her a lesson anyway. A small punishment, just a warning. Now that the point was made, there was no need to make things ugly. But the very next day, something major happened on set. Matthew came back. And this time, he blocked my path. His eyes were red, like he'd been crying all night. I know it was you. Why can't you just believe I was only a fan? In your eyes, is everyone who gets close to her up to something? Then suddenly, he pulled out a knife. Freya screamed and rushed forward, trying to shield me. But Matthew turned the blade on himself, stabbing his own wrist instead. Blood poured onto the ground. Gasps echoed through the set. He lifted his bleeding wrist high, staring at me with raw desperation. Is this enough to prove my innocence to President Koo? Call an ambulance. Don't let him die on set. I snapped the order, and then I turned, only to find Elizabeth had arrived. She was standing there, watching everything. Sis Eliza! Matthew's eyes lit up the second he saw her. I frowned and looked at Elizabeth. She gave him a single, cold glance. It was my own decision. Don't bother him again. Matthew froze, stunned. Elizabeth stepped forward, calmly sliding between me and Freya. She took my hand and led me away, without even glancing back at him. Overnight, Matthew became a laughingstock. He'd planned to make a dramatic scene on set and embarrass me. Instead, Elizabeth publicly turned her back on him. And when we returned, Elizabeth made our marriage public. Matthew was instantly mocked across the entire internet. He had only risen to the spotlight because of my support. Now, stripped of it, even web dramas didn't want to touch him. But what did that have to do with me? He brought it all on himself. Whatever came next, he deserved. If he'd been even half as well-behaved as Freya, I never would have given up on him. And yet, lately, Elizabeth had been frowning at her phone all the time. She had already cut off contact with Matthew. But one time, when she wasn't paying attention, I caught a glimpse of her screen. It was a mutual friend of hers and Matthew's. That friend had sent over photos, along with screenshots of Matthew's WeChat posts. In each photo, Matthew was dressed in rags, taking menial roles in low-budget productions. One showed him biting his lip, holding back tears while getting yelled at. Another, after filming Wrapped, he knelt on the floor, scrubbing tiles. In another, when a star actor got moody, they slapped him across the face. One screenshot showed his WeChat post. "It's okay. The light I followed taught me never to give up. Keep moving forward and you'll find hope." The last message in the chat was Elizabeth's reply. "Don't send me things like this again." I gave a small smile. Looks like my strategy worked perfectly. As a reward, the next day I visited Elizabeth's set and personally cooked her favorite pork rib soup. But the moment I arrived, she came up to me with red eyes. "Why did you do this?" "Do what?" "Don't think I don't know." She swatted the lunchbox out of my hands. I stumbled backward. The scalding soup splashed across my hand and chest, instantly burning me red. "President Koo." My assistant rushed forward, panicked. "Ms. Elizabeth, President Koo is injured." Elizabeth's voice cut cold through the air. "It's just a little burn, nothing compared to what Matthew went through." And as she said that, she dragged a disheveled young man forward. I hadn't expected Matthew to be working as a background actor on Elizabeth's set. This project was being shot in secret. Outsiders weren't supposed to know a thing. Only then did I piece it together. Just half an hour before I arrived, Elizabeth had stumbled upon Matthew. He was working as a stunt double. The scene, falling from a rooftop, over and over. The director kept saying it wasn't good enough. So Matthew kept climbing back up, kept throwing himself down harder, again and again. By then, his body was covered in bruises. Still, he gritted his teeth and pushed through. Elizabeth had no intention of stepping in at first. But when she saw him like that, broken, bleeding, stubbornly enduring, it tugged at something deep inside her. She remembered her own early days. The countless times she was an extra, hurling herself to the ground until her bones screamed, only to be berated by directors. That chapter of her life was one she'd buried, one she never wanted to revisit. So she stepped forward, putting herself between Matthew and the rooftop, and demanded to know whose idea this was. The director went pale with fear, not daring to breathe. Elizabeth sneered, spotted my name on the list of investors, and spat her words like venom. "You don't need to say it. I already know. Joel Koo. Do small-time actors deserve to die?" Now, Elizabeth stood tall in front of me, shielding Matthew behind her. "I've already given you all the love and respect I could. Why must you keep pushing him to the edge?" My assistant panicked. "Ms. Elizabeth, our President Koo never save it." I cut him off. Then I stood up, enduring the sting of the burn, and met Elizabeth's eyes with cold steel. "If you think it's me, then fine. Let it be me." Matthew's eyes suddenly lit up. He quickly turned toward Elizabeth, desperate for her reaction. Her brow twitched slightly. With a snort, she grabbed Matthew by the arm and walked off without another word. My assistant panicked. "President Koo, you didn't even do anything. Why won't you explain?" "Explain?" I let out a cold laugh. "She's not worth it." It wasn't Matthew's fault the director targeted him out of personal bias. But the fact that Elizabeth didn't even bother to ask me a single question, just assumed it was me because my name was on the investor list, that told me everything. She never really respected me to begin with. Explaining things only makes some people think you're begging for forgiveness. And I don't beg people like that. That very day, I was dragged into the trending topics and cursed out by the whole internet. A mysterious user uploaded a video compilation of Matthew's stunt double scenes, along with footage of Elizabeth publicly confronting me on set. Instantly, Netizens erupted in outrage. Who the hell does he think he is? Are stunt actors' lives worth nothing? As a stunt double myself, this really hurts. He'd already nailed it by the third take, but the director made him fall 10 more times. It had to be Joel's doing. I'm crying. His hands were shaking the whole time. How is this different from murder? The original poster couldn't be traced, but I knew this wouldn't have gone up without Elizabeth's tacit approval. To go against me so openly, to post something like this, it could only be backed by my own wife. When Elizabeth got home, I was sitting silently on the sofa. Half an hour passed before she finally broke. Don't you have anything to say to me? I do. Her expression softened, thinking I might explain. Instead, I slid a stack of divorce papers across the coffee table toward her. Sign it. We'll split our joint assets 50-50. The marriage is over, but our family's business partnership won't be affected. Her eyes widened. You want a divorce? I nodded. Why? She came closer, almost pleading. Don't tell me it's just because of this petty thing. Yes, I cut her off just because of this petty thing. That same day, Elizabeth stormed out, slamming the door behind her. She said I was becoming increasingly unreasonable. After that, she never came home, never contacted me. When I tried messaging her, I found I'd already been blocked. I didn't chase after her. I just put everything on hold. A week later, there was a knock on my door. I thought she'd come to her senses, finally returned to sign the papers. But when I opened the door, it was Matthew standing there. President Koo, he said, almost smug. Sis Eliza asked me to come pick up her clothes and toiletries. I raised an eyebrow. She's been staying at a hotel lately. I'm with her. Oh. But don't get the wrong idea. We're totally clean. It's just that she's out of clothes. So she sent me to grab her stuff. If Elizabeth really needed clothes and toiletries, she could have used a delivery service. There was no need to come all the way here, let alone send Matthew. I understood. It was her silent declaration of defiance. Matthew's smugness was tinged with careful observation. He was watching me closely, gauging my reaction. I stepped aside. End of the hall. Turn left. Then I added coldly, and when you get back, tell her she'd better come home and sign the papers soon. Matthew's eyes lit up. Oh, right. She blocked you already. Here, add my private account. If you want to tell her anything, just pass it through me. So now, as her legal husband, if I want to contact my own wife, I'd have to go through another man? If I added him on WeChat today, I'd be lowering myself without even realizing it. Matthew had been in the industry long enough. He knew exactly what he was doing. So I took his phone and slammed it hard against the wall. The phone shattered into pieces. Matthew yelled, "What the hell are you doing?" I tossed him a wristwatch. It's worth enough to buy you several of those phones. Take the money, take the clothes, and get out of here within 1 minute. He clenched his jaw, but didn't dare confront me directly. He grabbed the clothes and toiletries, shot me a venomous glare, and left in a hurry. I don't know what Matthew said to her when he got back, but Elizabeth never contacted me again. She didn't even send him back to pick up the rest of her things. A month later, she finally returned home. She opened the door, only to find the house completely empty. She immediately unblocked me and made a call. Where are you? 57 West Street. Why? Her grip tightened on the phone. Where? West Street, number 57. You're living with Freya? I pulled the phone slightly away from my ear. Don't yell like that. You'll scare the baby. Her voice cracked. Baby, what baby? Only then did I remember she didn't know. Oh, I forgot to mention, Freya's pregnant. It didn't take Elizabeth long to arrive at the hospital. The moment she saw me, she snatched the prenatal test report from my hand. When her eyes landed on conclusion, over 1 month pregnant, every trace of hope drained from her expression. Joel is the baby? Mine. In an instant, her eyes burned with fury. Before I could react, she slapped Freya hard across the face. Stop. I stepped in front of Freya. How many times have I told you not to bully the people I care about? Elizabeth, eyes red, pointed at the woman behind me. How could you really betray me? How could you do this? I looked at her calmly. First of all, I brought up divorce a long time ago. You're the one who refused to sign. Second, what do you mean by betrayal? You've been living in a hotel with Matthew. Don't tell me that's all pure and innocent. I wasn't even in the same room as him. Elizabeth nearly screamed. Usually calm and reserved. Even on camera, she barely spoke. But now she was trembling with rage, completely unlike herself. So what? My indifference stood in sharp contrast to her fury. Elizabeth's breathing grew unsteady. I was just putting on an act with him. But you truly crossed the line and betrayed our marriage. I did. Elizabeth froze. What did you just say? I smiled faintly. Did you think I'd try to justify it? I'm not you, Elizabeth. Not long after you left, I moved in with Freya. No separate rooms. Yes, I slept with her. She stared at me in disbelief. How can you say these things so shamelessly? I curved my lips. Because cheating is cheating. Even if we were in separate rooms, it wouldn't make me clean. I'm not the type to make excuses while crossing the line. If I did it, I own it. And besides, I already gave you the divorce papers. That wasn't a request. It was a notification. That day, the three of us parted on bad terms. I ignored Elizabeth, who stormed off in fury, and stayed with Freya as she completed the full prenatal checkup process. When we left the hospital and were about to head home, a man suddenly blocked our way. President Koo, how can you be so shameless? Matthew stood in front of me, face full of righteous indignation. For a moment, I thought I'd misheard him. I almost laughed. What did you just call me? Shameless. Matthew raised his voice. You two aren't even divorced yet. How could you do something so disgraceful? Joel. Freya stepped forward, ready to defend me, but I stopped her with a hand. This kind of thing, I always handle myself. No one needed to fight my battles. So you do know Elizabeth and I aren't divorced. I stepped closer to him, one deliberate step at a time. Then why were you posting pictures with her, going skydiving together? I was just... Matthew tried to explain, but I cut him off. You knew she had a husband, yet you still stayed with her in the same hotel. You even had the audacity to show up at her house and flaunt in front of me, her legal husband, saying if I want to talk to her, I should go through you. Isn't that right? That shut him up, but he quickly regained his anger. I'm not like you. I've been her fan for 8 years. What I feel for her is faith, pure admiration. Even if we stayed in the same hotel, we had separate rooms. Unlike you, living with a woman, and even getting her pregnant. Smack! My fist landed squarely on his face before he even saw it coming. He cried out, stumbling back and slamming into the hood of my car. I sneered. Faith? Admiration? Don't dress up your lack of boundaries as some noble devotion. If you truly saw her as your guiding light, then why didn't you respect her decision to cut you off? Those pitiful stuntman photos you leaked online, sure, they'll fool some naive fans. But do you really think you can fool me? You're not innocent. Elizabeth just hasn't given you a chance yet. But the moment she does, who knows what kind of admirer you'll turn into? I patted his face mockingly. Little boy who rode my coattails to the top, and even now, you still have zero self-awareness, huh? With that, I shoved him aside. He hit the ground hard. I got into the car, sped off, and didn't give him so much as a backward glance. Not long after I pulled away, my phone rang. It was my parents, and their tone was far from pleasant. Come home. We need to talk. When I got home, it wasn't just my parents sitting on the couch. Elizabeth was there too. You really got involved with that girl you were sponsoring? My mother frowned at me. I sat down calmly. Yes, I'm with Freya now. You. None of the three expected me to be so blunt. My father let out a heavy sigh. Do you even know if the baby is yours? I sipped my tea leisurely. As long as it is, that's enough for me. Joel Koo. That was the final straw. My parents lost their composure. What you're doing to Elizabeth is way too unfair. That's why I didn't cut off our family's business cooperation. I replied, glancing at Elizabeth. Did you not tell my parents what you did? My parents froze, then turned to Elizabeth. Do you want to tell them, or should I? I asked. Elizabeth gritted her teeth. I'll tell them. Elizabeth's recounting was fairly objective and complete. I nodded along, showing I agreed with her version. My parents fell into thoughtful silence. After a long pause, they sighed. Even though Elizabeth made some mistakes too, at the end of the day, it was just petty drama. We trust her character. She was only trying to get back at you. She definitely didn't do anything to betray you. That's right, Elizabeth echoed, then looked straight at me. I know. I believe her too. Then why do you still want a divorce? Simple. I straightened my back. Because I feel bad about it. Elizabeth frowned. Just because of that? I nodded. My parents understood my personality. After a moment of silence, they sighed again and turned to Elizabeth. Elizabeth let it go. Moving forward, our cool family will give your side a bit more support in business, all right? Elizabeth stared at me, speechless. Feeling exhausted, I said my goodbyes and turned to leave, but Elizabeth chased after me. You still don't believe me, do you? She blocked my path. What do I have to do for you to believe I really never touched him? I already told you. I believe you. I said lightly. No, you don't, Elizabeth said firmly. Otherwise, how could you divorce me over something so trivial? Trivial. I looked up at her. Elizabeth, to you, as long as you didn't actually sleep with another man, all the hurt you caused your partner just doesn't count? She froze. I let out a cold laugh. Elizabeth, you don't get to keep score like this. I saw you getting cozy with another man, on my birthday no less, and we ended up arguing because of him. I was hurt, really hurt. To me, that's not some minor issue. It's not just about whether you slept with Matthew. The way you provoked me for his sake, that alone was already a betrayal. And someone who knew full well what they were doing, how do you have the audacity to call that a small thing? Elizabeth didn't know what to say. I took a deep breath. In business, I can take any humiliation, because that's the nature of the game. We're chasing profit. But relationships are different. I can't accept a lifelong partner who brushes aside my pain, who challenges me when she knows exactly what I care about. Don't worry. What we've lost is love, not mutual interest. Our shared benefits can still continue. As for the baby, if you're okay with it, I don't mind if he has two moms. With that, I opened the car door and sat down. Elizabeth tried to stop me, but I sidestepped her. Not long after, I went on a trip with Freya. Mutual friends started spamming me like crazy. Where the hell did you go? Elizabeth's losing it. Are you seriously going to divorce her? Matthew's come looking for Elizabeth multiple times. She kicked him out every time. Last time she even threw a wine bottle at him. If you don't come back soon, who knows how far those two are going to push it? Joel, I heard everything that happened. Honestly, she was just acting out to get your attention. It's not a big deal. You don't have to divorce her over this. Come back. I turned around and posted a tweet. What spilled can't be gathered. A shattered mirror can't be made whole. If you keep bothering my friend to message me, I'll see you in court. I set the post so only Elizabeth could see it. When I came back from the trip, Elizabeth was waiting at the airport. She looked noticeably thinner, and when she saw me walking with Freya, her expression gave away her discomfort. But in the end, she forced her temper down and gave me a look that was half pleading. One last meal, just you and me. We met at the same seaside restaurant where we'd first gotten to know each other. Elizabeth still hadn't given up. Matthew and I, it's completely over. He pulled a suicide stunt and ended up in the ICU. He's still lying there, and I haven't gone to see him. She pushed her phone toward me, hoping I'd look and believe her. I simply pushed it back. Emma, got it? Elizabeth's eyes reddened. I really know I was wrong, Joel. At first, I just saw him as a devoted fan. I was touched, that's all. That's why I agreed to take pictures with him. When he hugged me, I didn't expect it at all. I know it's too late to say this now, but I swear nothing like that will ever happen again. The child, I'll accept her. I'll raise her. I shook my head. She's my child. Whether or not she accepts you as her mother is her decision. So she can accept Freya? She's just some rookie in the industry. I looked at her, confused. It's the child's choice. And what if she doesn't want a mother at all? Elizabeth looked like all the strength had drained right out of her body. Joe, you're really this heartless? I smiled slightly and placed a piece of meat into her bowl. Ms. Elizabeth, I've told you, our interests can still align. The projects we're already working on, we'll finish them. It's mutually beneficial. She stared at me, her eyes growing even redder. Just as tears welled up, she pushed her chair back and stood up from the table. After that meal, she signed the divorce papers. From then on, whenever she took photos with male celebrities, she always kept a full fist distance. When the baby was born, we both showed up at the hospital. I declined her red envelope gift, but allowed her to see the child. As the child grew, she never thought it strange that she had two moms. In fact, she happily embraced a love from both women. With time, traces of age began to show on Elizabeth's face. For years, she never remarried. She knew the child wasn't biologically hers, but still treated her as if she were. I once encouraged her to have a child of her own. She stayed unmoved. Because of the child, she and I would sometimes sit down for tea together again. She once said quietly, I haven't touched another man since. I smiled. That's good, but you should still think about your own future. Joel, I heard you won the Lifetime Achievement Award recently. Congrats. I cut her off. She opened her mouth as if to say more, but sadness flickered in her eyes. She tried many times to feel out my thoughts, and every time I brush her off. Later, she still kept trying to create chances to see me. But love, once lost, doesn't always lead to reconciliation. Sometimes, it only leads to repeating the same mistakes. And I don't do that kind of business. A new blueprint for the future was already unfolding before me. Elizabeth, she was just a single ink blot in the long scroll of my life.